Welcome everyone. We are so glad to see you. And I love that we are getting so many people from different parts of the country. And we have Alaska. I don't know if we've shout out to Alaska. I don't know if we've ever had someone. So glad that you're here. Um, as you can see, we're going to be talking about AI and your career and what to know and how to use it. So we're going to do some introductions, Nicole and I, and then we'll kick off into the agenda for today.
Yeah.
Nicole, do you want to?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. So glad to see us. Lima, Peru. All right. I love it. That's so great. We're really happy to be here with you today to share our information, what we know about AI and how you can apply that to your career and your job search. So we're really excited to share this information. Of course, if you have any questions, I think they already said this, so just put them in the chat. But my name is Nicole Bush. I am a graduate of Tulane University College from 1995, and I've been working here for 20 years. So I have been first with the Freeman School of Business Career Management Center, and then the last half of my career has been here with Alumni Relations. I'm a member of a Tulane family. We have a long history here. My parents met here on campus when my dad was a student, and my mom was working here. I have uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters. So we're all Tulane. Hopefully my son will be here soon. My favorite animal is the elephant. And I am not a tech expert, which is something we will share. But I'll let Sarah introduce herself first.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Sarah McAllister. I am a graduate of the Tulane School of Social Work from 2011. I moved here in 2007. I grew up in Florida and then also spent some time in North Carolina. But I've been here since '07, so this is my home. I worked at Tulane for 14 years. Half of that was at the Newcomb Institute, and then I've been in this role with Nicole and Nina for 7 years. Some fun facts: my favorite flower is a snapdragon. I always love talking about it because you can play with it. You can squeeze its little sides, and it looks like a dragon, and it's beautiful. And then just another fun fact: any form of nachos is my favorite food. You really can't go wrong. And also, like Nicole said, I'm also not a tech expert. The reason why we are sharing this today, let's go to the agenda, is today's session is really about doing a general overview of AI and Chat GPT, as well as really sharing some resources with you to then, the idea is that you will take what you have learned today. Some of it you probably already know. And so we're going to go in depth on some of the other things, but we want to make sure everyone's on the same page in terms of what we know. And then again, we're going to spend about 30 minutes together. And then Nina is going to be in your inbox later on with some of the resources that we've talked about. So just kind of setting expectations and letting everybody know kind of what our goal is for the day.
Yeah, there are many experts in technology who will go through the nitty gritty of those, and we'll refer you to some at the end of it. But our expertise is with the career side, so that's what we're going to focus
on. Right, so here we go. So we're going to define AI and GPT. We're going to talk about how the technology works, why you should start using it, and if you are using it, why you should continue to use it, and then also some limitations and concerns based on what we currently know. Okay, so we'd love to have some interaction via chat today. So when we did this presentation before, we launched it at a poll. So I'm going to give you some options, but share whatever you want in the chat. So we'd love for you to share with us in the chat, how do you feel about AI? So some potential responses are, it scares me, I'm so confused, I love it, or anything else in terms of how you're feeling. So just take about 30 to 60 seconds, answer this in the chat, and then we'll keep going. Love it. Cautious.
Using it more and more. Cautious. Cautious is a good word. Ooh, suspicious. Great. Hopefully y'all can see all that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think it's something we're still getting, or a lot of us are still getting used to. All right, Jose.
I'd also welcome everyone who has talked about loving it and how you use it. Please, and everybody else too, but also if you're currently using it a lot, we would love for you to add in the chat as we're going through our presentation today. What are some other ways that you are using it? How has it been really helpful for you? And we'll have another prompt later on. But again, we are all crowdsourcing this technology, right? We are all learning at the same time. And so again, please share your expertise and your experience for everyone else to learn.
I also think some of those comments about, and you can leave that, some of the comments about being behind the eight ball, you're kind of perpetually that way because it's just developing so quickly. We're all, trying to keep pace with it. So don't feel like it's, behind the eight ball. I've seen a couple of similar responses there. You're definitely not alone. And I think that's probably going to be the nature of it for the time, for maybe a long time, but at least for the time being. So let's just get a common definition of AI and GPT, and that's what we want to put up here. And artificial intelligence is, of course, the intelligence of machines versus humans. So machines, technology, computer, everything that we use. And surprisingly, I think that term was coined back in 1956. So, and a lot of people think of robots when they think of artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence is in a robot, but a robot is not itself is not artificial intelligence. Generative pre-trained transformers, that's what generative AI is, and that's what GPT is when we're referring to that. So it's trained technology. It is information is downloaded into the platform, and from the internet, companies can use their own operations manuals or policies to train it, to teach it. But what it does, it's trained to create human-like content and texts, and it's trained to give you responses that you will like. So that's important to remember, especially for all you who are suspicious about it. You have reason to be. It is trained to give you an answer that will please you. It does not perform live scans, and I think that's one of the big misconceptions about it. I know that's what I thought about it. ChatGPT is right now hitting the internet and picking up any information that it can find on there, but that is not the case. It is limited to what it was taught, whatever it has been taught, and whenever that was. It could be 5 years ago, it could be 2 years ago, some of it was even longer than that. And as you can see on here, ChatGPT was first launched by the Apple iPhone in 2007. So if someone has not, depending on what technology you're using to access what kind of chatbot you're using, your information could be dated back quite a while. So that's something to keep in mind as you are using the chatbots. All right, some everyday examples of artificial intelligence. And some of you have started putting, I think, some of those in there, but you can also add some to the chat. Let us know how you're using it right now. These are just to help it for those of you who feel, a little unsure, or you're still wondering what it is. It really encompasses a lot of what we're using already. So face detection and recognition, if you're using that on your phones. One of the things that I find helpful is, if you're looking for, hey, Alexa, play some tunes for me. It will start playing. I'm learning because I have a new Alexa, so I'm even embracing as we go. But it's really fun because it's remembering what I listened to before. And then now I can just say play music, whereas before I had to be more specific about the type of music. But now if I say play music, it combines all of the requests I've had before. So it is learning what my preferences are, and then using that to respond to what I'm asking it for. And that's what a lot of it does. You can see the text editors. I know a lot of us use Grammarly on a regular basis. The self-driving vehicles, talk about suspicious and cautious. I put that in the top of my list. But they're there and they're coming. They're here and they're coming. And of course, social media platforms, whether, when you talk, people joke about talking about something and then you start seeing ads for it on your phone, or you start seeing, or on your laptop, or if you don't even realize you click on an ad, and now that is, AI is back there putting that in their algorithm to then generate content for you to see. LinkedIn, it's helpful. So sometimes it's scary, but sometimes it's helpful. Like in LinkedIn, the information you have on your profile, your activity on the site helps to generate your interface with LinkedIn, which can be really helpful in your job search because it's going to be more targeted information. So that's the good of it. That's the good side of it. of course, the algorithms I mentioned. YouTube is the same way, Spotify, Netflix. I think it's Netflix where you click and you can say, suggest a movie for me to watch. And it's looking at everything you watched before. And did you rate any? Was it good or bad? What have you searched for? So all of that is being taken into consideration. So those are good ways, or ways that it's really helping us in daily life. Those are good things, and good ways to use AI. And Google Maps, of course. Who doesn't? Google Maps ways. We all need that help. So then as we go on to Chat GPT, that's the one that I think people are maybe a little bit more cautious about. I know I am, but Chat GPT is where you're putting in a prompt, you're asking it for information. It's built on the natural language processing and machine learning algorithms. So it interprets your language, it understands and interprets what you're saying and learns from it, and then responds to you based on that information. It's constantly learning and adapting based on your interactions with the technology. So you could have an app on your phone, it could be on your computer. Like I said, you could be using an Alexa. I mean, Hey Siri on your phone is one of those. Siri's always watching. Siri's always helping your phone learn more about you. So be aware of that. But it tracks your information. It sees what you're doing. And I'm just looking in the chat. Autofill is an example of artificial intelligence. Yes, thank you. In the search bar. Right, exactly. And help us and let us know any more. So the Chat GPT is working like that. The responses are based on what your request is. To keep that in mind. And here's an example. So this request, you could say to a Chat GPT app, I need a mid-sized summarized email written pertaining to data not being given to us in time. And Chat GPT will send this out. And you can read through that. We have been using, full transparency here. We've been using Chat GPT to help us to create some text or content very similar to this. And I think the more you use it, the more you learn how to give it the right prompts to get what you want out of it. If we go to the next one. And these are some reasons to start using it at work. Like I said, we've been using this. I'll be honest, back in the spring, AI Chat GPT was pretty much a mystery to me. I was just kind of scared of it myself, or not scared of it, but all I ever heard about it was that Chat GPT is going to take all of our jobs away, and this is what we need to be afraid of. And so just as before we talk about this, just I can tell you I've been in a number of discussions with people in the industry who do not believe that that is the case. So let's just get that out there right now. Chat GPT is not going to, it may replace some jobs, but it will also create other opportunities while it's doing that. And we can talk more about that in a little bit, but really want to make sure you know that it's not taking over the world, because I've had a number of people ask me that over the last few months. Chat GPT is taking over and nobody's gonna have jobs anymore. Not true. It's just that your jobs may change a little bit. In general, it is not taking over everyone's job. It may replace some, but it's not going to take over everything. And it becomes kind of obvious the kinds of jobs that it would take over. But we can use that as a resource. So as we start looking at ways to use it, think of it as another person on your team. So example, if you do not have enough resources to accomplish your day's task, try using process automation. Sometimes it's just as simple. You want to write an email, or you want to write a description of a presentation you're going to give. Who does that? I don't know. It's a way to help get you started, or to come up with a title. And it's not going to probably give you your final product, but you could say, if I was for this, ask Chat GPT to give me the title for a session on AI in career services, or in your career, and it'll come up with about 5 or 10 different titles. And you can kind of look at those and think they're good suggestions. It's like having someone else to brainstorm with. If you want to write an email or create text, it's really helpful for that, to kind of just, again, get your brain started, give you a starting point. You can ask it the same question or dive, adjust it a little bit to get more information, again, as a starting point, or you can think of it as someone else on your team who you're brainstorming with to get this going, get the creative juices flowing for whatever it is that you need to talk about. That's okay. So we had a few, so we mentioned a few ways that it can help you on the last slide, and we talked about a few, but right now think about how just one thing that you do on a regular basis that you might be able to automate, or that would be easier if you had someone to help you, a virtual partner to help you. So just give you a minute to think about that, and you can put it in the chat when you have that idea. Yes. Cover letters, sure. And a snazzy presentation like Shannon. That's true. Definitely for email drafts. Writing exam questions, that's a great one. Any other ideas? LinkedIn posts, blog posts. Regular tasks that have different specifics each time. Elizabeth, I see your question on there asking if it could handle regular tasks that have different specs each time. You would just have to give it a different prompt each time, specific to whatever that task is, or adjust it based on it could maybe create a base for you to work from and then adjust it accordingly as you move through. Write a summary of the facts on the legal case. Yes. And to get information that would take you a while to look up. That's a great way to use it and create efficiencies. Profiles. Yeah, these are some great all great ideas, and keep them going, keep thinking about it. And then try it out, because the more you start kind of using it and seeing, well, you know what, let's see what ChatGPT says to this. You might be surprised. And you may come up with other ways that you can integrate it into your everyday work.
You want me to take this one?
Go ahead.
Okay. So just building on everything that Nicole shared, and again, thank you all for just sharing your ideas and suggestions in the chat. So here are a couple ways that we think are helpful for you to use AI during a job search, in addition to what's already been shared, right? And so I know we've talked about cover letters. You can also use this tool to upload your resume and then ask for edits based on specific job descriptions or field types. You can also ask it if maybe you haven't created a resume before, it can start a resume for you. So you're going to have to do some editing and fill in some gaps, but you can say, create a resume for me for a project management position with zero experience in project management. Or what we're going to talk about prompts in a bit, but you can have it to start building it up. So many online job boards, like we've talked about, including LinkedIn, offer AI tools. If you've ever been on the job search, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, and you've both used LinkedIn and Indeed, again, we'll talk about limitations later, but right now it's not a perfect system, right? So if you put in, again, project management, it might give you a 15 to 20 project management roles, but it also might say, how about a gardener or working in hospitality? So the point of that example is it works, but sometimes it's only as good as the information that you put into it. So also chatbots, they can create interview questions if you're thinking about doing informational interviews. If you're trying to figure out how to answer a specific question, you can put that in the prompt, or you can ask ChatGPT to help you. And then also some of these tools can help you identify gaps in your skills and suggest resources. I would say the possibilities are even more than this. And so again, kind of going back to our goal for today, start with these, and then, if there's other things that as you continue to work with the with the tool, you might start to see different prompts and questions in terms of maybe there are even more questions that you have about your job search that we haven't listed here that AI can help you with. Okay, so I found this amazing article. Nina's going to put the full article link in the chat from themuse.com, which is a great resource for not just AI, but all things career and professional development related. They have job posts. This isn't sponsored by the Muse, but I do love that site a whole lot. And so when I was doing some research just to update this presentation, I came across this article that had 35 different prompts that you can use during your job search, interview, and post interview. And so I'm not going to read these to you. We're going to share the presentation later, but these are just some great examples, right? So like I said, if you're having an interview, and then you can insert the job description. You can help, again, identify what are some things that I might not think of asking or think of answering in my specific interview questions. And then also after you're done, I really like that final one because this is a question that comes up quite a bit, right? Like if you don't want to move forward in the interview process, if you might be having a hard conversation with the interviewer, what are some suggested language? And ChatGPT can do that. So really, whatever your question is within the job search and interview process, and if you are having a hard time figuring out the specific wording or suggestions, this is really a great tool to use. Nicole, is there anything else in terms of the prompts?
No, I think they just kind of evolve as you use it, but as you said.
And the other thing too, just to point in terms of tools and ways, the biggest thing that I have seen with specific generative AI and ChatGPT is about prompts. And so some exciting job opportunities that are coming out of this new technology is they're called prompt engineers. And so really it's all about how to understand this technology to ask it the questions that will give you the answers that are most helpful. And so we could probably spend a full hour on like how to use prompts and like how to be most effective within your prompts. But I would say, especially if you're new or if you're new to this tool, and if you've used it in the past, but it doesn't feel like it's giving you the information that you want, do some research on the most effective prompts to use. And I think that's going to help. I know that will help a lot in terms of the efficiency in which you use this technology.
That does remind me of, data analysis is so big right now because in the job market, because we have it. And so people want to be able to use it. And so there are people who understand data and can analyze it. And then there are people who can interpret it really well and communicate it. And of course, companies are always looking for someone who has both. And there will be jobs, there are opportunities available on both of those sides. So there's opportunities to develop the AI, the technology itself and work through tweaking it and teaching it and everything else. And then there are also jobs, kind of like the prompt engineer on how to use it and training people on it and how to bring it into your operation. So those are the kinds of opportunities we can look for with this technology.
And as we move into, sorry, go ahead. As we move into limitations and concerns, there's a really great point, some points in the chat about how do you figure out if it's factual or not, right? And so we definitely are gonna touch on that. And again, I would encourage everyone to share some ideas in the chat as well. So as you can see with this quote, it may be inaccurate, untruthful, or otherwise misleading at times. It's incredibly limited, and it's a mistake to be relying on it for anything important right now. And so this is a quote from OpenAI CEO back in December 2022. And so one of the things that Nicole mentioned earlier is the way that this tool is created is to give you the answers that it thinks that you would like. It's really to make you happy, as much as a computer can try to do that. And so the way that it does that is it will, what they called it, the term that I called it, hallucinate, right? And so it might lie, it might make up information to literally answer the question that you're asking. And so one of the things that you can do is you can ask for resources. You can ask for it to cite where it got that information. And then it's also your job to double check that outside of the AI tool, right? So get on Google, like make sure that it's actually again, not lying to you about that source. And so
It's
Nicole, do
funny.
you want to share the example?
Yeah, I'll share that the example of the lawyer, but I also this makes me feel it reminds me of a friend of mine who can recite the details of different sports events. Like he was just there yesterday and they happened like 10 or 15 years ago. And I've always asked, how do you remember all those details? He's like, I don't remember all the details, but if you say it with confidence, people believe you. Like, okay, well, that pretty much explains this too. And if you say it interestingly enough, they're going to listen to you. That's one of the things that makes me think about. You always have to check your source and make sure you're using it responsibly. And there is an example, real life example of a lawyer who used ChatGPT to source examples of past court rulings to determine precedent in the case he was working on. And if you would like the full story, we could go into it now, but in the interest of time, I will refer you to one of our AI recorded session with Molly Rue, and she can tell it to you in detail. But it's really interesting how, people have kind of, I think initially people over trust it. But the more we go, the more we know to not do that. And just to add, that quote from Sam Altman was December of 2022, and this technology really went viral, I guess you'd say. It was just last fall. It was like October, November of last year. So it's still really new. And people are learning to be, I think, more careful with it as they go along. Some of the other things that come along, of course, are plagiarism, copyright issues. I think this is particularly evident in art because you can create, it's not just text, so it also can be used to create images, songs, scripts, I would imagine, for sure. And so if it's creating images, sometimes it's taking from people's original artwork, from artists, the work of artists, that they don't have a way of stopping it if it's on the internet, because it's going to pull everything. So there's definitely some work and tweaking to technology that is going on there. Unfortunately, this is the internet. And as we have learned, there's not a lot of regulation on what's out there and what you can do about it. But I think that's definitely a big issue for everyone developing technology in the field. And the more that they can protect someone's work, the more people are going to use it. So I think that's something that they're going to continue working on. But it might take a while that's going to be a big one to fix, but it's important. And I think that from what I understand, the tech companies do understand that, and they're taking it seriously.
Yeah, and again, as we've seen in the chat, this is great. It's great for research and creating a first draft. This should not be used as a final product for anything. So all the examples that Nicole mentioned earlier, we've used it for session titles and session descriptions, and then we go back and tweak it. A lot of times when the way that we work, I'll use the tool to come up with the description and share it with Nicole and Nina. And they'll, it uses the same word over and over again. Like, it's not perfect. And sometimes it doesn't use the best writing. And so again, it's up to you as the consumer to make sure that you are going through it and making sure that it's factual to you and also makes sense. And then, as Nicole mentioned, the privacy concerns on lots of different levels. Also, if we've missed anything, again, please share it in the chat in terms of what you're seeing with limitations and concerns.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of what you've posted. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that is all very useful and helpful information. I love the one about tutoring and chemistry, but it's good to know, good to have a critical eye on that. This is an example of what it will, in its effort to please you. You ask for a picture, create a picture of Tulane University alum attending a Mardi Gras parade. It cannot create one for you. So instead of just saying not available, I'm sorry, but as a text-based assistant, I'm unable to create or provide visual content. However, I can describe the scene for you. Like, I'm just being so nice. I'm just your friend, and I want to help you get what you want, even though I can't do it. So, but if you read it, it's a really good description, but it kind of also is just a good example of how it's just trying to be nice and trying to be your friend. And, oh, I'm so sorry, but here, let me give you this instead, which I think is funny for technology. Funny, not folly. We put in the prompt. This is one of the other things. It gets AI has struggles with digits of things, whether it's teeth, fingers, hands, that sort of thing. As you can see, when I search for man wearing gloves in the snow, it is indeed a hand of gloves in the snow, but the fingers are a little off. So, that's just one of the limitations of the technology. Still working on that. You can also see these two prompts, and this was a really interesting one for me because we were looking at, woman dressed in green and blue cheering on players during an exciting football game, which, she's a lovely looking woman there on the left, but she's not even looking at the game. So it doesn't look like she's cheering them on. So it's a little off. And also when, some of this is dated, but still every time I searched for something with a woman, she was a young, beautiful white woman, and they always had long hair, which was very strange, I thought, but this is what it was creating, because based on the information that it's been trained on. So then I changed the prompt to woman of color dressed in green and blue, cheering on players at a football game. This one's so much better. She actually looks like she's into the game, but also, this is just a good example of how your prompts can change things and some of the bias that is in the ChatGPT system right now, which we hope that they will work. I'm sure they're working to change that. But it's also, that picture is also a good example of how it can get some of the details wrong. If you look at her teeth close enough or her hands, they're still a little off. So that's just part of what it generates.
So as we talked about earlier, we really want this to be a place for you to take these resources and then continue learning. So LinkedIn, we did a quick research on generative AI, and LinkedIn Learning, I believe, has over 500. I can't see it because of my toolbar, but it has hundreds of
over
900. Thank you. 900 different resources to learn more about this tool. And so if I think most of us know about LinkedIn Learning, there's a couple ways to access this. So if you have a tulane.edu email, you can access it. You can also, if you have a library card, you can access LinkedIn Learning. So there are several different ways, and this is a great free resource to just, again, continue to hone your skills and learn more about this tool. As you can see, the second one, Introduction to Prompt Engineering for Generative AI. That's, I think, the more and more I learn about this, like the better you can be about prompting, the better this tool is going to work for you.
And reading more about that and learning more about this technology is going to help you decide and figure out where it fits in your career. Are you on the tech side of it, trying to, fix what's wrong with it and tweak the tech itself? Are you on implementation? Are you just gonna figure out a way to create greater efficiencies with what you do and make it, just use it with what you're already doing? So, but the more you learn about it, the better able you'll be to identify how it works for you or could help you in your career. So encourage you to do the ongoing learning.
Yep, and another way to continue your ongoing learning. These are just 3 newsletters that have been suggested to me that I follow. There are so many other resources, but this can be a way to have things put in your inbox on a daily or weekly basis to just keep up with AI. I have to be honest, I subscribe to several newsletters, and they are quite overwhelming in terms of how much information is out there, but I consume it in the way that I can. So I'll click on it. If I understand the first couple sentences, I will keep going. If I don't, it's way above my head and I have more to learn. But again, I would encourage, if there are other resources that you all are, if there's other newsletters that you all are subscribing to, please feel free to share it in the chat.
We just want to end with a quote from our own president, Mike Fitz, who shared this through USA Today back in April. You can read it on here. I won't read it for you, but it really was focusing on how ChatGPT, the effect it has on higher ed and how people can use it in higher ed. And this is just a great quote, because he's so right. You can write a good paper, but it won't be a great paper because you don't have the human aspect in there. You can't tell a personal story or just have the humanity in that story or in the work that you're doing. And how it can pull from all the best works, all the best writings and artwork and everything, but it can't make something completely original. So that is a limitation that we need to keep in mind as well, and maybe a comfort that it won't take over all of our jobs, because we still need to be creative and we still need to connect with people in a lot of different ways through the work we do. And of course, we must embrace creative and humanity, excuse me, creativity and humanity, and not just repeat what we already know. We always want to learn so that we can grow, but you have to have new ideas if you're going to really progress. So that was just a great quote we wanted to share with you.
And so with that, we'd love to hear any of your questions. And also, I just wanted to kind of lift up what Nicole was saying, because I know this is a question that we continue to get in terms of, is it going to eliminate some jobs, and what is the future? And to quote Molly Rue, who we will send out her video, Nina will send that out. She made the point, and she said it will replace some jobs. It will also create a lot more jobs. If we think about any new technology that has come through in the last 20, 30 years, there's a big shift and we're all adjusting to it. And so wanting to both share that from a realistic standpoint, and also, as you all have seen in the chat and in the presentation today, there are so many great uses for this technology to make your life easier, to make it more efficient, and to really help you along the way. And we encourage you to just continue learning and use any of the resources that are out there.
Thanks, Linda, for sharing those tips on how you're using it. Those are all great ways to use it, especially in a career search. Just looking at
also, great shout out. Linda is one of the videos that we'll be sharing with you in your inbox.
So any other questions or comments? We want to be respectful of your time, and we try to be quick. We know a lot of you are on lunch hour.
Thank you so much. This was great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, please feel free to contact us anytime if we can help, or if you just want to talk through some ideas on how you might use it, or what you're getting, or whatever's happening in your jobs, whether you're on a job search or just trying to use it better to be more efficient on a day-to-day basis. Happy to talk to you about that. So you can find our, actually we'll put our emails. I'll put my email, put our emails in the chat. You can also find us online on our home pages. I'm going to put a link to our website, so that if you want to go look more information on how to find us or other opportunities to learn more about this and other professional development topics, please look at our calendar of events there and through all the resources that we have available.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks again for the wonderful chat and the idea sharing.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Thank you so much.